Welcome to sunny Los Angeles, California. They say West Coast, best coast, and you won't find any arguments from us because from their stunning beaches to their great mountains to the World Cup, it is all going on here as we're pitched up just outside SoFi Stadium, where in 24 hours, the U.S. men's national team will start their World Cup dream against Paraguay. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this edition of ESPN FC. I'm Alexis Nunes, and look at my squad here today. I've got 1990 World Cup champion Jurgen Klinsmann and a trio of former U.S. men's national team players in Herculez Gomez, Jermaine Jones, and Casey Keller. Boys, the World Cup has started. Jurgen, thank you so much for letting us use your backyard.
You're more than welcome, anytime.
When you're a World Cup champion, you get some stunning real estate. Guys, you feeling the World Cup fever?
Getting there.
Getting
it's a
there.
good opening match. It finally feels like we're at the World Cup, but I think we still need to feel it here. We need to feel it in L.A.
You're not feeling the heat from
I
up
can feel
top?
the heat. That I do feel. Black was a bad color.
Black was a bad color. All right. Well, as Herc said, there was a pretty good opening match indeed, and it was Mexico who went up against South Africa, and it was El Tri who managed to get a 2-0 win in the end. Raul Jimenez amongst the goal scorers, but nobody left unscathed because they saw not one, not even two, but 3 red cards in this one. Herc, it was entertaining.
It was very entertaining and almost a perfect evening for the Mexican national team. You come back to Estadio Azteca, the mythical stadium that saw Pelé lift the trophy, that saw Diego Armando Maradona lift the trophy, and now finally, this version of the Mexican national team with Javier Aguirre in his final dance, the last dance, is going to get a chance to prove what they can do, maybe make history, and it was almost perfect. You got Quiñones on the scoreboard, Brian Gutierrez was dangerous, Fidalgo was dangerous, you were in control for the majority of the match, and then 40-something minutes, a man up. You've got to put your foot on the accelerator. You got to put your foot on the throat. You got to take out the opponent. These goals, the differential, could mean the difference of first place or second place in this expanded World Cup. They did not. They didn't do it with one-man advantage. They didn't do it with a two-man advantage. And worst case scenario was when you were in control, you're going to lose one of your better defenders for the next game. So almost a perfect evening for the Mexican national team, but a perfect way to start off this World Cup.
Perfect way to start off, right, Jurgen?
Absolutely. I mean, it's always tricky to start, the World Cup, to be the team that, the whole world is watching now, to kick it off. And you're nervous, you're anxious. You don't want to fail in that huge opportunity. And so all that really matters is get 3 points, somehow get 3 points. Now, obviously, if you're the home nation, then you want to convince already your fans early on that you're on the right track. They got the early goal and everything seemed to go in the right direction, but then they couldn't add the second one. They had to wait until, obviously, Raul Jimenez then added the second goal, and with a beautiful goal as well. But those games are very tricky. For a home nation like Mexico, it's almost like you can only lose. Everybody expects you to get the 3 points and to have a convincing performance and to get everybody on your side. I think they are now really relieved. They are happy in the locker room. They got it out of the way. Get the 3 points, started well, and we're all happy because the World Cup finally kicked off.
Yeah, Jermaine, when you talk about the pressure, we talk about the pressure, and we'll continue talking about the pressure the USA will be facing here tomorrow to start. Well, Mexico did it more of a sigh of relief that they needed.
Yeah, of course. Like Jürgen and Hercules already said, I think the first game is always the game where you try to get into the tournament. And we all know it's most of the time not the best or the beautiful game. It's more just about, like, let's get in, let's try to get the win. And especially we all been to Azteca. We know how we can turn on you. So an early goal, and then now, it's 2-0. You go home and you go back to the locker room and you say, the first game is done. Now focus on the next one, what comes. And I think similar like the U.S. team here tomorrow. They're sitting right now in the hotel and say, let's go see how Mexico did it. We have our hometown and we play here at home, and we have to get somehow that win.
Casey, you know that the Azteca is no easy way to play, especially for South Africa, but especially for Mexico being the home team. How'd you feel they did?
Well, I thought they started the match very brightly. They pressed well. They got their early goal, as Jurgen said. And then under Aguirre, they've been very conservative. And I think you saw that. They got their goal, and then there was this instant mentality of just dropping back and defending. And I think it got frustrating. I think the fans started to get frustrated. Then you had the advantages and the frustration that then they didn't see the the flair that you expect from Mexico. But we've been seeing that for the last couple of years, that lack of winning is the only thing that matters. But the way they could have won, the way they could have really set the tone for that first match and to establish that leadership in the group.
Herc, as Casey was saying, bright start, but then they did drop off. The crowd started to get on them. We saw 3 cards in the game, of course, 2 being for South Africa. What do you think happened there? Tempers flaring, the occasion getting the better of them?
In terms of South Africa, I have no idea what got into them. These are plays you cannot allow to happen. It wasn't the opponent putting, one of them was. It was the opponent putting you in a very difficult situation. Brian Gutierrez, very good intentional touch in front of the defender. So he can only foul him. That's a very well-drawn play by the forward right there. The other one, you're coming across the face of Roberto Alvarado. The referee is 10 yards away from you. Jürgen and I were talking, you're in an era today where you have 50 cameras all pointed at you. You're not going to get away with it. It's a very silly foul. The third one on Cesar Montes, I don't think anybody here thinks that's a possible red card. I didn't think it was a possible red card. Very harshly done there for the Mexican player. But it was a very physical match. Maybe the nerves, like Jürgen said, are getting the best of these players. That could be it. I do want to say, I think there was massive calls here by Javier Aguirre, the Mexican national team coach. You saw some players who were on the field today that were nowhere near being a starter for the Mexican national team 4 or 5 months ago. Brian Gutierrez, he gets the start. Julian Quiñones, he was out of the picture. Leads the Saudi Pro League in goals. He gets the start. Eric Lira gets the start over your captain, Edson Alvarez. Big choice to make there. He went with Eric Lira. And then on the right back situation, which has really been an Achilles heel for the Mexican national team, Jorge Sanchez has gotten the last few starts. He just says, no, I'm going to go with Israel Reyes, a stay-at-home right back, and it worked perfectly. And you got Raul Jimenez. Jürgen mentioned this, a beautiful goal. This is his 4th World Cup, and he finally gets his start, and he finally gets his goal. I don't care if he's a rival or not. You can't help but feel good about Raul Jimenez and his story and what he's been able to achieve post his incident with David Luiz. It makes you feel good that he gets that feel-good moment at home in the World Cup in front of his people. Almost a perfect night for the Mexican national team.
If you have a look at Herc's arm right now and zoom in, he's got goosebumps. But really and truly, Jürgen,
sunburn.
It's goosebumps because when we're talking about Raul Jimenez, there's so much emotion attached, Jürgen, especially with what he went through with that head injury as well, clawing his way back for club and now for country, getting that goal. How important was it for Mexico to see their top man, their superstar, get this?
Yeah, obviously extremely important for him personally to finally get this first goal in the World Cup. And knowing you're running out of time, he's 35 now. Obviously, after what he went through, there's the whole nation behind him. The whole nation feels with him. And I think also people outside of Mexico do feel with him. And so when a player like him then in the first game gets this opportunity, puts it in the back of the net, then you just simply feel happy. Happy for that kid, happy for that moment. And it makes the nation now feel good. It gives them, first and foremost, confidence. It gives Mexico confidence because you start with 3 points right away into the tournament. You are on home soil, where it's always difficult for the Mexican team playing at home because the expectations are always so high from the Mexican fans. They rather play in the US, then they're more relaxed here than they play in their own country because the people in Mexico, they expect more. They may expect them to score the first goal the first 20-25 minutes. If that does not happen, then they boo them. So no, it was a good feeling for them, good start for them, and now they can breathe a second and prepare really for the second game.
What Jürgen's talking about is so important because most of us are watching this game and there's a few comments like, okay, the crowd looks unnervy. The crowd looks like they may turn against them. They've got the pressure of el quinto partido, of never making it to that quarterfinal game. Now it's el sexto partido. To get there and on home soil, coming off one of the darkest periods in Mexican national team history where they finally don't go on to the next round in the 2022 World Cup under Tata Martino, it's a massive pressure cooker for this Mexican national team and these players who most of them don't have that experience.
You know what they needed? They needed a Colombian to score their first goal and an American to help set it up.
All right. Well, speaking of that, Colombian-born Mexican player, Quiñones, as Herc mentioned, scored the first goal. And this was the reaction at a Mexican watch party in Monterrey. And if you've never been to a Mexican party or partied with the Mexican fans, trust me, I dare you to find anyone that knows how to party better than they do. But as we said, this is exactly what we wanted to see all throughout the World Cup last time, even though Mexico underperformed her. The fans really demand so much.
They do, and I understand the sentiment of you're coming off of your darkest period in your national team's history. Tata Martino left this program, I think, years behind. In Javier Aguirre, you have a national team coach who's known in Mexico as a bombero. That is a fireman, literal translation. You bring in a fireman when the house is burning to save the house. That's what he's been in La Liga. They bring him in to steady the ship, to make sure a team doesn't get relegated. But he's given this team a sense of bite, a sense of passion, a sense of representation that most Mexican fans haven't felt in quite some time. I thought it was good, very good. Casey mentioned how pragmatic they've been under Javier Aguirre. I think that's an amazing assessment. That's who they are. That's not the Mexican way. It's not the Mexican way in any aspect of their culture. In soccer, in their everyday life, in boxing, Canelo Alvarez is heavily criticized because he doesn't go out there and go all out. He's a counter artist, if you will. This Mexican national team is more Canelo than they are anything. But right now, it's the right combination of what they need.
It's the right combination of what they need, and today Mexico got the job done. A 2-0 win over South Africa and the perfect start to a World Cup on home soil. Well, we showed you some images of that Mexican watch party in Monterrey. Just 24 hours, the wait will be over for the U.S. men's national team as they kick off their 2026 World Cup campaign against Paraguay right here in Los Angeles. Here's a look at their group. They'll also have to go up against the likes of Australia and Turkey, which can always be a tricky one. Let's hear from Christian Pulisic and Tyler Adams ahead of this game.
Yeah, we're a really good team. We're able to compete with anyone, and we want to be a real force in this tournament. I think that's what we want to show to everyone. I think we know, from the inside what we're capable of, and yeah, now it's about showing it. I mean, I think we showed it a lot in recent games. I think it's ready to respond to anything that comes to us. That we know we have to be ready to battle. It's not about just playing beautiful football. We have to do the little things and compete.
How are you going to cope with the nerves, like whatever? But then you realize when the whistle blows, it's just another game. Obviously, the stakes are higher. There's more to play for, but that doesn't change my mentality. You got to stay present in where you're at, and ultimately, that's what allows you to play your best.
All right, players from the U.S. men's national team, they're seemingly ready for what's going to be a very high-pressure situation right here at SoFi Stadium behind us. Jurgen, if you're Mauricio Pochettino, 24 hours away from a World Cup on home soil, what are you telling your players?
Not much. I mean, I had the philosophy a bit, that especially game day, I leave them alone. But game day is emotional day. I don't think that you can bother them anymore with any tactical or organizational issues, find stuff that, all that is done prior to the game. I mean, the days leading up towards the game, you do your homework, you do all the, the bits and pieces in training sessions and the talks. But as soon as it approaches the evening before the game, you start to leave them alone, because every player is different. Every player has his own way of preparing himself. And you got to let them do their thing, They are all anxious. They are a bit nervous too. I mean, I was a player myself and played the World Cups. I don't want anybody on game day to kind of give me a speech or make me dizzy, with words. And I just hope that they enjoy the moment, that they really take this opportunity and make it a lifetime moment for themselves, have a smile in their faces, and then go for it.
Well, we've talked about it with these guys, Jermaine, a lot over the last couple of months about how good is this U.S. men's national team. Christian Pulisic said right there that they're really good in his opinions. What are your thoughts on it?
First of all, I wanted to say just what Jürgen said. The one point is just to enjoy it. Enjoy the moment. I think that's the biggest thing, Like when I remember when we went to the 2014 World Cup, like I said, like when you take over with the plane and you come down there, it's just about enjoy the whole experience, take it too. And now it's even better. You're playing at home. So the other question is now, yes, we know that this group is a special group and they have a lot of talent. Are they proving it so far? I think we all can talk about and say not 100% every game. So we see a little bit of shining, but not like that we go and say, oh, this is an amazing game of play, how we do it. We shoot other teams or other countries out of the stadium. It's just not right now. But
what's missing for you? What's the main thing?
I think for me it's just that little bit of grit, I would say. You know, the grit of like, because when we look back in this country, we were standing for fight, we were standing for like never giving up, believing, and that was our main thing. So now we have a new generation. They are young, especially when I look back at the Qatar World Cup. Everybody talk, this is the first team they come together. They're young, they will grow and grow. But now we're at home. Now we have to show it. There's no hiding anymore because they have it, but they have to show it now. And the best stage to show it is now. Do it in the home field and improve the people wrong who maybe doubted you.
Yeah, the time is now. Casey, we also heard from Tyler Adams there. He said, look, we know the headlines and all the pressure and all the talk coming into this game, but once that whistle blows, it's just another game.
Yep.
Is that the right way to look at it?
Well, it is. But yes, you also know the gravity of it.
Yeah.
So that weighs a little bit on top of you. But, you know, Jurgen made the point about Mexico is, in the end, all that matters is the result at this stage. And I think to Jermaine's point, what we haven't seen is this team find ways to consistently get results. They've played well at times. They've done things. We said, okay, we like where it's trending, but then in the end, it has to trend toward one goal, and that's points, and get enough points to give yourself a much better position to advance out of those knockout stages. So that is the next step. Manage the stress, manage the pressure, enjoy it, but find a way to get the result.
Now, against Paraguay, what are you expecting? What do they need to do?
They need not to come down, and I say this respectfully, to the level of Paraguay. If you want to outfight Paraguay, outclaw Paraguay, you're going to lose. You're going to come second best every single time. That's who they are, the type of competitors they are. They're a very physical bunch. Gustavo Alfaro has brought order to this team. They know how to defend. They know how to make it physical. They know how to make it ugly. And I say this respectfully. The U.S. has proven, I think, under Mauricio Pochettino, a handful of times, they can play toe-to-toe with just about anybody. But can you do it for 90 minutes? Not the 25 minutes versus Belgium. Not 15 here versus Portugal. Not 60 versus Uruguay. Can you do it for 90 minutes and not shoot yourself in the foot? Not give up a silly goal like you did versus Senegal. Not give up a silly foul like you did versus Germany. Have the goalkeeper come out and not make a mistake. Have the defender stay goal side like they did against Germany. We can go back to Paraguay, getting beat down the left-hand side. Ball comes in. We can go down to Ecuador on a counter. There's always a silly mistake and an individual mistake, not tactical. That's not on Mauricio Pochettino. So can you do that, and can you not play into the hands of Paraguay? If you play football, you've got a very good chance of getting 3 points. But if you think this game is about clawing and fighting, you're in for something else. Emotional intelligence.
But Herc, have you seen this team be able to break down a team that drops back and is and defends very well?
At times. And this Paraguay game that we saw where Giovanni Reyna was involved in both goals, it's Max Arfsten down the left-hand side where I think Paraguay is very vulnerable. A lot of their goals are given up there. 1v1 play, he beats the player, sends it into Giovanni Reyna. Giovanni Reyna is by himself in the area, heads it, goal. Second play, it's good pressure by Diego Luna, not here. Christian Roldan, they give up the ball. Giovanni Reyna slips it in, individual error from the Paraguayan defender, and it's Folarin Balogun who puts it away. You can put Paraguay in some compromising positions who sit in a mid to low block. You can do that, but you can't do it and make mental individual mistakes, emotional intelligence. I know that we've all been to a World Cup, and I remember the other side that's not the field. Worrying about my family and friends and the tickets. Worrying about reading about what's going on and the pressures, or lack thereof, that there are in this country when it comes to the game. You can't allow yourself to already be preoccupied with something that's not inside that green rectangle. Because once the game starts, it's about being smart. We saw it with Mexico, South Africa. If you're emotionally intelligent, you give your team a chance to win, to compete. And if if the U.S. men's national team competes on the field the right way with football, they can get 3 points. If they bring it down to physicality and fight and spirit, they're going to come second best to Paraguay.
With what the USA have, Jermaine, how far realistically do you think they can go in this tournament?
Oh, I think it will be how they go with the first game. So, because I think if they lose that game, then it's already a lot of pressure on them, especially then to now go to the second game, and then you have to win. So I hope that we get out of the group stage. And but to add to that, what Herc said, for me is important that a lot of games I see in the US is working and playing good is when Christian Pulisic has a good day. So, and I think that is a big problem. So I think in general as a team, you have to step it up. And I think there's Weston, there's so many guys, they all have to step it up. And like we said, you play in a World Cup, so there's no hiding anymore. Everybody dreamed as a young boy to play at this stage, enjoy it, have fun, but I don't think that it can only be Christian Pulisic, because if it's only him, we will get in problems.
Yeah, Jürgen, if it's not Christian, then who?
Well, for a coach, the hope is always, who's capable to step it up in a tournament. So a tournament is a complete different story to the normal kind of seasonal games, qualifying games or friendly games. So you rely as a manager, as a coach, you rely on those couple of personalities that you have in your team, and you are desperate to look for them. So obviously Christian Pulisic is the leader of that pack, but it cannot only be him. It needs a Tyler Adams, it needs a Weston McKennie, it needs 3, 4, 5 guys. I was lucky to coach them in 2014 in Brazil, but I had a Tim Howard in goal in sensational form. I had Jermaine in midfield, I had Michael Bradley, I had Clint Dempsey up front, I had DeMarcus Beasley. I had personalities where I knew if they have an issue on the field, they will take care of it. They talk it out. They keep each other on the toes, because what Herc says, these individual small mistakes, when you know that your teammate doesn't allow you to do those mistakes, you are right there. You're not making that mistake. Like the two red cards from South Africa, totally unnecessary.
Yeah.
Damaged now the team for the next game. They're already on their edge. So you need to have that discipline, but that discipline is given to you also by your teammates. And when you look around and maybe, you are a younger player like a John Brooks in Brazil, he looks around and Jermaine tells him something, or DeMarcus Beasley or Tim Howard tells him something, then he's spot on. He's not making any mistake anymore. So this is leadership. And I hope that they define their clear roles of leaders in the next couple of weeks. It's not only Christian Pulisic, it's the other guys too. Step it up now, because this opportunity is not coming again.
Casey, and just speaking about leaders, another one who is a leader as well is Chris Richards. Of course, we know he has been dealing with an injury. According to our Jeff Carlisle, he has been looking good in training, looks fit enough to play. We will ultimately see. But if he is, do you start him?
I think so. I think to the points made, you need your stars to perform. You then need your role players to play their role. And then you could also use that odd surprise where you're like, wow, I didn't expect that from that player to perform that well. Chris Richards is one of your stars. He's your defensive leader, a guy that, has done so well in the Premier League, has then really established himself. And to have that foundation, you have a goalkeeper that's probably going to be untested in Matt Friese. And when you can have a leader who's come across the way he has, not only for country, but for club as well, and to be in the situation that he's been in, to have him, I think it's paramount, but only if he's to the level that he can. What that level is, because we all know, you don't go into how many matches do you go into where you were 100%. I mean, I would have felt weird at some stage of a season to go, oh, I'm 100% today. No, there's always something you're feeling, and so I think he's got the experience to be able to battle through it.
Well, Iran's World Cup participation has been front and center of many headlines heading into the tournament. They opened their campaign on Monday against New Zealand in Los Angeles. They have 2 games in Los Angeles before heading to Seattle for their final group game against Egypt. And despite playing all their games in the United States, they've been forced to move their camp to Tijuana, Mexico because of U.S. visa issues. Well, our Jeff Carlisle managed to sit down and catch up with a number of the players.
I was wondering if you could answer this next one in English, or at least give it a try. How difficult has it been to focus on football?
It's our family involved the situation right now. So the important thing is a family in all the world. That's why it's so hard to focus on football, just football. But as a professional players, we have to do it. We are here to do that our job, we do our best job. So that's why, which is we're looking for it to be focused. Actually, every single person has another situation to fix it. So about myself, I just put the phone away, don't read the news, which is so hard. Actually, which has helped me is the different zone time, because when we are here awake, they are asleep. When we are asleep, they are awake. That's help, but as a mental, no, it's not, because at the end of the day, your brain goes there thinking about the situation in Iran, and that's unfortunately is it not good for us.
Is there fear of playing the games in the U.S.? Are you concerned at all for your safety?
For sure, we are safe. This is responsibility of the USA, and they have to do that. Why not? Are you sure about your country?
I'm not the one experiencing it, though. I mean, I'm not the player of a country who's at war.
I have a question. Very from USA, yeah?
Yes.
Okay,
yeah.
But you sure we are safe there?
Well, Donald Trump has said at times that he wasn't sure he could guarantee your safety.
Yeah.
So.
But how you see us as a politician, guys, or we are a sportman? Yeah.
Of course.
Trump has to see the same things.
Okay.
But we are sport.
The Iranian Federation has accused the U.S. of vindictive behavior in terms of denying visas for some of the support staff. How do you think that will put Iran at a disadvantage?
We have also a lot of people, logistic people, who have to look after us outside the pitch, which unfortunately, it hasn't been fair to say that everybody can be involved because of the visa situation. And I think that can also affect our preparation in a way. So hopefully, same as other 47 teams, that it's quite normal that there are people who look after the team and they should be involved and part of the group as well. We can be one of those 47 teams to have everyone who can play a part in our preparation and of course in our journey throughout the World Cup can be with us as well. So these things of course playing a big part.
Because like I've mentioned, we've already passed a lot of hurdles and obstacles to get to this point. And this is probably one of the smaller problems that we've had to overcome. But it could turn into something very big at the same time. And he understands every team coming into the country has to go through, for example, custom controls and standard practice, but it could be handled potentially in a different way. And it's unfortunate that the United States is presenting itself by these actions that reflects bad upon the U.S. Talk of the news right now, everyone's talking about all these negative things that the United States is doing, and it's actually affecting the U.S. negatively. It's a global event, there's 3 or 4 billion people watching this game. And given the focus and attention, the U.S. show a much warmer, friendlier gestures and create a better image for itself in this unique opportunity. This visa thing, when you look back at the last few months, there's been a lot worse things that have happened to our country. It's almost such a small thing in comparison to what's happened. And FIFA and the United States, they could have handled this, both our visa issues and the other issues, much better to promote unity. Yeah, and at the end of the day, 15 visas are denied. What effect does that really have? What is this trying to accomplish with that? And this is my third. I've been to 3 World Cups, and they always say once you get off the plane and you enter the host country, there's just a unique atmosphere of friendliness and globalness. And, unfortunately, he's not feeling it right now. There's a lot of tension right now in this World Cup. You feel it in the atmosphere, and unfortunately, it's because of actions like this.
Our Jeff Carlisle there catching up with members of the Iranian camp. Jeff Carlisle is joining us right now. Jeff, just listening to all of them speak and you communicating with them, it must have been a very surreal and interesting experience to sit down with them.
Yeah, it was a long day. It was interesting to have to go into Mexico and attend one of their practice sessions. But I think overall the mood within the team is relaxed. Certainly there is still concern about what is happening with friends and family back home in Iran. But you know, they were happy to be in Mexico. They're very satisfied with the facilities that Club Tijuana is providing them. And granted, it had only been about 48 to 56 hours that they'd been in the country. So I think there was still a little bit of jet lag that they were trying to deal with in terms of having their practice. But, you know, certainly, you know, they're very much looking forward to the games. They're certainly aware of everything that is going on, both back home in Iran and in the United States as well. So, and they're very eager to make an impact on this tournament. I think this is the 7th time that they've qualified for the World Cup, and they've never made it to the knockout round. So that is a goal of theirs that they are very intent on achieving.
And besides some of the challenges that they spoke about there and what we have seen publicly, what are some of the other challenges that you're facing and they're facing?
Well, I think one challenge that they've recently started to face is that their allocation for tickets has been revoked by FIFA. Now, this allocation is 8% of the stadium capacity. That many tickets get given to the federation, and they are allowed to distribute them any way they want. But the problem is that there are economic sanctions that the U.S. government is applying to Iran, and the Office of Foreign Assets Control is the U.S. entity that controls and limits what business transactions can take place between the U.S. and Iran. And granted, FIFA is an international organization, but FIFA 26 is a U.S.-based entity. So the Office of Foreign Assets Control has kind of put their foot down and said, you cannot distribute or sell tickets to people in Iran. Now, not all of the Iranian people who are interested in purchasing tickets live in Iran. You know, some of them live in the United States, some are abroad, elsewhere. And so what FIFA and the Iranian Federation are trying to broker right now is a situation where those people that live outside of Iran would be able to get tickets, but it's unclear at the moment whether that's going to happen. All we know right now is that the allocation of tickets has been completely revoked by FIFA.
And Jeff, after speaking with them and with all that's going on, do you feel like they're actually able to concentrate on the game itself, on the football, or is it just all a bit too much?
I think it's a little bit of both. I mean, there's no ignoring what's going on, especially with the resumption of hostilities that has taken place in the last 48 hours. I think it's impossible to kind of completely put that aside and not think about it. But, you know, certainly, you know, like Mehdi Taremi said, they're there to do a job. And, you know, they're very intent on achieving their goals in this tournament, making the knockout stages and giving some hope and some happiness to the people back home. So, granted, they can't ignore everything that's going on, but I think they're doing their utmost to focus on their football and focus on this tournament and try to be as successful as they can possibly be.
Well, Jeff Carlisle, thank you so much. Great work as always. Welcome back to ESPN FC as we are 24 hours away from the U.S. men's national team playing their first game right here in Los Angeles at the SoFi Stadium. So you know we had to pitch up a tent right here and get ready for the vibes. But let's switch focus back to Mexico right now, who have the perfect start to their World Cup after a win over South Africa. It's something that they know how to do well. They are unbeaten in 8 games in World Cup openers, and they've managed to win 6 of those. Well, he may not be the biggest Mexican, but he certainly is the loudest. Our Casey Keller tries to put him on mute on a regular basis, but he fails miserably. Let's welcome in our Mauricio Pedroza. Mau, on a scale of 1 to 10, how happy are you with what you saw from Mexico today?
After South Africa saw their second red card, it was time for Mexico to go for the jugular and find the 3rd goal. In the end, that goal might be the difference, trying to decide who wins the group. I know I'm thinking way too ahead of myself, but I feel like it was probably the cherry on top if Mexico had found that 3rd goal. But overall, I was very happy with what I saw. I was very happy with the team selection. We spoke a lot about this on the show, and I feel like Javier Aguirre nailed it with Israel Reyes, with Brian Gutierrez, Álvaro Fidalgo, Julián Quiñones, who was the best man on the field. So in the end, it was a really solid performance by the team.
All right, Mau, thank you so much. I'm going to let you go and festejar like Mexicanos know how to do, and that's with a couple of cervezas.
I'm already on it. I just wore the sports jacket. I'm already
partying. He's already
partying.
on it. He has a show later, okay? So maybe not too many cervezas or tequilas.
All right.
Mauricio Pedroza there. All right, let's switch focus right now and talk about former champions, Germany, shall we? Here's a look at their group. They have Curacao, Ivory Coast, and Ecuador to contend with. Sunday, they opened their campaign against Curacao. Curacao, who took out my Jamaica, but I'm actually glad I'm not going up against Germany. Oh, stop. Let's not do this, guys. I'm still not over it. All right, well, Jürgen, I have to come to you first on this one. How confident are you in Germany's team for this World Cup?
I'm fairly confident, to be honest. I think it's a great bunch of young players, of quality players that can prove their point. They can go far. They can go all the way through to the final. They can also exit earlier. Anything is possible. What I'm curious is a little bit similar to the United States is, who's going to be the leader of the pack? I have obviously as a captain Joshua Kimmich, and Manuel Neuer came back after, rethinking the whole situation, and also after having really a need. Germany has a need of him really to come back and go into goal, because he's still top 5 in the world, even if he's 40 years old. So there are some question marks there, but overall I'm confident. It's a high quality group of players, and very curious.
Jermaine, you feeling as confident as well in Germany?
Yeah, I would say yes. Especially now when you look at the team, the spine is Bayern Munich, so they all know each other. But then even the pieces around, like Jürgen said, it's a young group. But you can see there's Havertz, who played in the final for the Champions League. Then you have Sané, Wirtz. It's a young group, and you don't know exactly what you get. But I think we don't have to talk about the individual quality. And you can just see the team, I think, need that first game. So in Germany is a tournament country, so they showed always when they get into the tournament in a good run with the first game, then it will be tough, and I think nobody wants to face them. But I'm with Jürgen.
All right, well, we're keeping Jürgen and Jermaine very close to us after that first Germany game to see if they're feeling just as confident after it. All right, well, there's a break in the NWSL coverage on ESPN for now, but it will be back July 5th, Boston Legacy up against Bay FC. Make sure to join that game, 12 p.m. kickoff on ESPN. Well, Mexico already got off to the perfect start in their group at this World Cup, but there's still another matter to be settled as South Korea go up against Czechia later on this evening in Guadalajara. And it just so happens that we have a former South Korea coach right in our midst, Jürgen Klinsmann. What did this man not accomplish? Jürgen, speaking about South Korea, especially going up against Czechia in this match and in the group, what are your expectations?
Our expectations are high. It's a team that has all the qualities to go, I would say, at least to a quarterfinal. We coached them to a semifinal in the Asian Cup until unfortunately we had a fight between two players the night before the semifinal, and that was then the tournament for us. But there's a lot of quality in South Korean football, and they expect a lot from their team now in this World Cup. They want to see how far Son, as the captain of the team, obviously with the LAFC, how far he can take his team now, because they are not happy how the last 20 years went, in their history. So, I'm very curious to see them.
Curious to see them. All right, let's get some predictions now and put these boys on the spot. Casey, let me start with you. South Korea, Czechia, what are you thinking?
1-1 draw.
Oh, exciting. Jermaine, what about you?
I go 2-1 South Korea.
2-1 South Korea. Herc?
Yeah, I'm with JJ. It's not in Mexico City. It's in Guadalajara, so altitude won't be a factor. But the Czech, they're going to get their Czech is going to get their goal. That's the tallest team in the World Cup. It's going to be a physical presence on set pieces. They'll get theirs as well.
All right. Jürgen, finally?
I go with a 2-2.
2-2. You're going for a draw as well.
Yeah.
All right. Okay,
That's
so 2
4
draws.
goals.
And now the big one. The U.S. men's national team, Paraguay, in less than 24 hours. Casey, how do you see this going?
2-1 USA.
As you do.
As
JJ?
I do.
I'm going with a 3-1 for USA.
3-1, big win. Herc?
It's going to be a draw, low-scoring draw, 0-0, 1-1. That's the way I see it. Very, very physical battle. I'll go 1-1.
Such a beacon of positivity,
Yeah.
our Hercules Gomez. Jurgen, what about you?
We're going to win 2-1.
2-1. All right. So 3 wins, 1 draw, say the boys. Indeed. Herc, by any chance, did you manage to see a little comeback win from the Knicks?
No, I saw the Spurs choke yet another lead. 29 points, and Wemby and the Spurs choked another one. Why? Why do you ask?
Well, I asked because the U.S. men's national team, that's exactly what they were doing last night. We saw some clips there of them celebrating. A number of them, New York natives like Tyler Adams and Tim Weah. Just have a look at their reaction. Oh boy, just 2 nights away from one of the biggest games of your lives, but you're watching a game together and celebrating together. Jurgen, this is what you want to see from your team.
This is what you want to see from your team, that they have a good time, that they have high energy. Wonderful. It's really fun.
It's a lot of New Yorkers on that team.
Yeah. Any Texans?
Weston's a Texan. I don't think he follows other sports, but Weston's from Texas. Pepe's from Texas. There's a few Texans.
I think Pepe was in that clip, probably hiding, going back.
Sendejas from Texas. Yeah,
JJ, you guys did any team bonding, stuff like that?
Yeah, I think we did. We always had a good group, and but I think under Jurgen we had to do a lot of writing stuff, and yeah, he put us to work.
Yeah,
he put them to work, Jurgen.
Yeah, we always went sightseeing in every place we went to.
Oh, that's a good
but really
vibe.
fun. It was fun.
Casey?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think team spirit is a huge component to being successful in any tournament, and the more the team is together off the field, the more together the team will be on the field. So it's great to see a chance to kind of loosen up a little bit, to kind of take some of that pressure off, celebrate what was a pretty fun final, particularly if you're a New York Knicks fan. But even as a neutral, kind of cool to see, and the team obviously enjoyed themselves.
Yeah, Casey, Mauricio Pedroza, and our producer Beto Peralta and I, we went out to the bar to watch it, and it was just an unbelievable comeback, Jurgen. I think you were watching as well. What did you think of it? One of the greatest comebacks in history.
Yeah, well, it was fantastic. You know, and nobody thought, almost 31 points down. And then the last second play was just fantastic, And even if I'm not a basketball freak, I mean, I'm almost 30 years now here. I went to many Laker games. I had season tickets for 2 years with the Lakers. But I mean, watching stuff like that is just exciting.
Herc, you didn't take it in?
I took it in. Absolutely. You watch the game, you enjoy it. History being made. It's been a long time since the Knicks were in this position, a position to actually win it. It gets you thinking. Pochettino's always said, why not us? The Knicks are on the verge of history, maybe the U.S. men's national team, of getting deep. Let's not get carried away, but of getting deep.
I know. You're saying that stars are aligning, something in the air over here. JJ, did you watch it?
Yeah, I was watching it at the hotel room. It was a good game, yeah. I think even for not a basketball fan, I think it was really excited.
You're a bit of a New York boy, right?
Me?
No,
Yeah.
this is Cali. This guy's Cali.
No.
Oh, he's straight West Coast, best coast.
Laker.
No, I'm German.
Easy Schroeder.
All right. Well, thank you so much. That's pretty much, we're going to wrap things up here on this special edition of ESPN FC. Remember, 24 hours to go before the USA are in action against Paraguay in their World Cup opener right here. Make sure to join us again tomorrow. We'll see you then. Welcome into Extra Time. We are coming to you live from our set here right at SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles, California. What a squad I have assembled today. Jurgen Klinsmann, Hercules Gomez, Jermaine Jones, and Casey Keller. Guys, ready to dive into some questions?
Of course.
Let's
Yes,
do it.
ma'am.
All right, they're a bit thirsty. Don't worry. We won't stay too long. All right, first question. When you're at base camp, how often, if ever, do you watch the other matches? If any teams in any group were watching today's match, what would they take away from it?
Well, you take a lot. I mean, you watch all the games. Whatever comes up on TV, you watch it with the other coaches, other young players. You always gather and you kind of watch what happens, what's going on. Today, you can take a lot away from the fact that South Africa let themselves a little bit go. 2 red cards, that's not okay. You carry that into the next game, so you got to avoid that. Don't make these individual mistakes that they did. And obviously Mexico is extremely happy to start positively into the tournament and calm things down. Now the nerves settle. And yeah, you watch the other teams and you learn always something.
JJ, did you watch all the games too when you were in camp?
Yeah. I think we had in the hotel, we had downstairs a restaurant. We watched all the games there when we were not playing. And I think it's always good to see the other teams too, what they're doing. And it's interesting. It's the best tournament in the world, and I think you can play part of it. And we all love the game, so it's interesting to watch other countries and see what they're doing.
Herc, what do you think some of the other teams should take away from the game we've seen?
Well, it's exactly what Jurgen just said. You can see what not to do. All of a sudden, you see a team unraveling right before you. You could be damn well sure the coach is going to be, we can't allow this to happen. Emotional intelligence. I think sometimes people think how great it is to play in a World Cup, and it's amazing.
Yeah.
You're one of the select few, a select percentage of the population that will never get to do this. But you don't experience the World Cup. You're in a hotel, you go to the stadium, you watch it on TV, you don't really feel like you're there until you consume it as a fan. And when you consume it as a fan, you see how great of a celebration it is. But when you're a player, you watch the games because that's all you're allowed to do. You can't really do anything else.
Oh, woe is me, hard life. I got to represent my country at a World Cup. Casey?
Yeah, I think you are a little bit isolated. This is a little bit different, I think, because you didn't have that process of qualifying. Because I think when you have those 16, 18 matches that we used to have qualifying, it was all part of the process of getting to that point. Then you finish that qualifying, you celebrate that, and then you kind of come back. And I think when you are isolated, I think it's when the bus drives up to the stadium for the first match, and then you see your fans. And that's what I thought really about 2006 was, for me, that was the first time I really saw a large section of U.S. fans traveling to a World Cup and feeling that when your bus comes into the stadium that you're very, very well represented, and that was when you're in the World Cup.
All right, next question now, because I think it is a very good one, and this is for everyone. If you could add one player from the past to the current U.S. men's national team, who would it be? Jurgen, let's start with you because you're the gaffer.
Maradona.
Oh! I mean, why not, right?
Does he have a passport? Can we get him a passport?
I don't know if we could convince him.
Well, Ronaldinho would have a passport. I'm just throwing that out there.
What about you, Herc?
From the U.S. men's national team, there are 2 players. One is in the goalkeeper position. I would put either a Casey Keller, Tim Howard out there, one of those 2 guys. And the other one is, I sometimes look at this national team and I desperately think they need some bite. And the guy to my left, if there was anything he had, was some bite. So a player like that, a player like Jermaine or Michael Bradley, somebody in there that was just...
Had that dog in
just somebody with the dog that could make Tyler feel like the whole pressure isn't on him. I think that could greatly serve the U.S. men's national team.
JJ, what about you? You putting yourself in?
Yeah, I will put myself in.
You got excited, huh?
Hey,
that sounds good.
It's right here. You have your boots?
Hey, I'll be honest. I think we all can feel that when you turn around, you see the stadium. Of course, I will put my boots on and to go back out there and enjoy the time with the boys.
A full 90?
Yeah, not 90. Maybe give me 15, and then the rest can take over.
He's into it, right? He's into it.
He's into it. All right, so JJ's picking himself. Casey, what about you? Picking yourself too?
I think we have an array of more experienced goalkeepers that could have played in this match. Also, I mean, we've had a lot of questions about the number 9 position. So I think having a Brian McBride to give yourself a little bit more of an option if you have to go aerial, and that experience of playing Premier League and scoring in multiple World Cups would help this team a lot. I mean, 100%. You always want to have the experience of what everybody else has offered with that. But those are a couple of positions I think would cheer us up a little bit.
If we can't get Maradona, we take Clint.
Oh, we'll take Clint. All right, well, that's a solid team right there. Imagine if you did have Maradona. All right, next question now. Which host nation will go the furthest? Jurgen.
I think the U.S. The U.S. has the chance to go to a quarterfinal. And when you're in a quarterfinal, anything can happen anyway. You know, in the knockout phase, anything can happen. You will go through 1 or 2 penalty shootouts. That's just the way it is. But I think they can surprise a lot of people positively.
Herc?
You want me to be positive?
Change.
They'll all end up at the same place. But who has the possibility of going the furthest? Given that they are the closest to winning the group, it would be Mexico. And they would have 5 games in Estadio Azteca if they win the group, potentially going through. It's Mexico who has the possibility of going the furthest. But I ultimately think all 3 nations may bow out in the round of 16.
What a positive man. JJ?
I will go with the US. You know, at the end, it's really because I'm, you know, I played for this country and I want the best for them. I know it's not easy playing on the home turf. There will be a lot of pressure for all of them 3 countries. But I think if US gets good into the tournament, I think they will be the one who go the farthest.
Case?
Yeah, I think in a lot I agree with Herc that I think it could be a round of 16 for all 3, but I think if the team has the best chance of getting out of that, it could be the U.S. And then once you get to a quarterfinal, you never know when a bad handball call off of the line in a quarterfinal.
Here we go. Brought 2002 back.
All right, final question now, and it's for Jürgen. Jürgen, what would you say your greatest moment was during your time coaching the U.S. men's national team?
There were a lot of great moments emotionally, but I think the opening game in Brazil when we played Ghana and Clint scored after a minute, we all freaked out on the field, off the field. I mean, it was such an extreme emotional moment for all of us. You know, we just couldn't believe it. Yeah, I think that was a very, very special moment.
Well, the 1-0 win in Estadio Azteca. The only one to do
and
it.
that one too. I have to say that one too. Yeah, the winner at Azteca is the first ever team, you know, and last minute, and they were Olympic champions, and they were honoring that team. And at halftime, and we spoiled the party at Azteca. I have to say that was probably the day where I had the most text messages ever from coaches all over the United States. They said, "Finally, we won in Mexico." Yeah, that was a special moment.
I didn't definitely bring that up because I started that game either.
No, of course you did. Of course you did. JJ, what was one of your favorite memories after being coached by Jürgen?
I would say playing the World Cup, you know, because if, it's the whole process. Like you having the families there, we had the hotel here, they had the hotel next to us, going to the game, seeing all the American fans, just this combinedness with everybody's together. It's beautiful because you dream as a young boy to play for a World Cup and then see your kids happy, see the families happy, and enjoy that together. It was for me the special moment with wearing this jersey.
Casey, do you have a favorite moment?
For me, it was probably 2006 against Italy in Kaiserslautern, where we get 2 players sent off, they get a player sent off. We find a way to take the only points away from the eventual champions, and a little bit different luck here or there. It could have been a special World Cup for us, but that was a pretty crazy night in Kaiserslautern with Rammstein there and so many Americans, and that was the first time and also Kaiserslautern being so close to the Italian border, where you really had, a stadium that held, like 45,000 and having, 20,000 Americans, 20,000 Italians, and just a tremendous experience and atmosphere.
Right, well, we'll see if the U.S. men's national team can add to some of Mauricio Pochettino's favorite memories right here tomorrow. Like I said, less than 24 hours away till the U.S. starts their World Cup against Paraguay. We will be back tomorrow. Remember, ESPN FC is available 7 days a week and twice a day on some parts during the World Cup. Join us.